Of course, as a board and as a company, we've resolved to continue to trade in the non-life business, which means that we need to raise 10 billion by NICOM's definition, 50% of which must be raised in December, and the full amount raised in September next year. We have, therefore, as we speak today, met the 5 billion required by December of 2020, and the process and the efforts to do the 10 have already started. Just last week, we engaged FBN Capital, FBN Merchant Bank, or FBN Quest, as they call themselves, as our financial advisor and issuing house for the next phase of our capital raise. We are very confident with the work done already. Let me tell you, before you get this far, you've done a lot of pre-marketing, because you only pay your money to any financial advisor when you have not done your homework. We have done our homework. So we are sure that we will get to the required mark in record time. We do not intend to merge on account of capital to any merger because of capital. But we will go into a merger for the sake of market share. Please, I hope I'm making myself clear. We will not go into any merger because we are unable to raise capital. That is not our fear. We don't have any problem with that. But if for any reason we want to grow our margin with another company, will give us a higher market share. Size is important. We knew it in 2007, and I think it continued to play the same way. So we will do that. So that is where we stand. But we know, as we gathered you today, some of you will have some challenges or some problems and claims from your clients as a result of this NSAS protest. You need our assurance, and we want to give it to you, that if your customer has a valid claim, of course we all know what constitutes a valid claim. I do not think I need to highlight the ingredients of the validity of a cover, because just granting riot and strike free as an extension to the standard cover of a motor policy. I guess we know better today. We know better today, and I do not know if one raises 10 billion or 8 billion or 18 billion, and all you do is to give grant free cover for riot and strike, for whatever pandemic that we see come in the future, or for whatever anything that will come. The environment we live in is tense. It's very tense. I do not know. The events of 20th and 21 happened, we all know. But thereafter, what has happened? A lot of us still remain indoor because we are not safe going out. Are you safe today? Out. So I think that we will need to preserve investments here. We need to preserve investments, and we also need to, as I said, we need to also price this risk very well. There's no problem, because we will come just in line with the common saying, there are many days for the thief, one day for the owner. Sustainability means that you are doing things professionally. Sustainability. For your business to be sustainable, you must do things professionally, because every business, like insurance, has its own rules, and the rules must be adhered to. So we will need to adhere to all these rules. I think I've spoken more than 4 minutes. I want to thank you. I think I need to bring this conversation, and welcome. I think that is the important thing. Welcome to this event. Thank you very much. I hope you will enjoy yourself. Thank you very much.
Please, can the applause be better for the Group Managing Director? According to one of the America's wartime presidents, Delano Roosevelt, he said that no one should try to struggle with his competitor. No one should try to struggle with his competitors in the marketplace. Very great friends of the house, my honor it is to inform you that Francis Balogun of Man Mountain Insurance Brokers is also here. Mrs. Femi Ogun is here. I saw her a while ago. Madam, where are you, ma? Yes, you can hide. Thank you very much, madam, for your presence. And of course, I have Dr. Johnson. He's here. Dr. Johnson is from J. Akin George. And ladies and gentlemen, today is their day. I will continue to introduce them to you for you to collectively appreciate them. By way of information, ladies and gentlemen, in the truest form of the COVID-19 pandemic that we are at the moment, we've got some hand sanitizers around. In case you suspect that even though viruses are invisible to the eyes, but you suspect that your hand has caught anything, please just go sanitize your hand. And if you are not satisfied, you can also go and wash it in the convenience. Okay? I pray that the Almighty God will deliver us someday. The forbidden fruit was eaten somewhere and we are washing our hands here. May I request that we open the line?
As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and its resultant negative effects experienced all over the globe. The fact is that there is no aspect of human endeavor that was not affected by the scourge, necessitating the need for companies to adopt strategic thinking that will propel and adapt management and staff to the paradigm shifts in their business models. Pivotal among the new drifts in the new business direction is the need for the embrace of technology by any corporate institution that desires to survive today. Also, there is the need for companies to more than before start to forge or strengthen strategic collaboration with existing and will-be stakeholders for business growth. Happily, CHI has seen the impelling need for the latter through the conception of this forum. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot pretend that the Nigerian insurance broking subsector does not entertain some fears about the position and future of many insurance companies in the market today, particularly after the recapitalization exercise, as professional intermediaries between insurers and clients. The insurance broker bears the brunt of any challenge that clients' utilization, hence their concern and friends. While I can say that generality of insurance brokers have great optimism that CHI will achieve the feat of being recapitalized because of its board and management's adherence to sound professional ethics and excellent relationship management. It is yet my hope that the company will take good time at this forum to apprise brokers with the stage reached in its recapitalization drive. I cannot conclude without once again thanking CHI for creating this interactive platform, just as I will seize this avenue to pledge the unalloyed support of all members of our council to your company in its set aspirations to be one of the foremost market leaders in the insurance industry. Wishing you a rewarding interactive session. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much. That was the #1 insurance broker in Nigeria, giving an endorsement to this very great company and this event in particular. Please permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to note that we have in the house already the General Manager of Mainway Insurance Brokers, Mr. Segun Amokeoja. You're welcome, sir. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I have Bukola Osonyi, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Willis Towers Watson. You're welcome, madam. I can see, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Saeed Egbeyomi, the Deputy Managing Director of Ogrobinson Nigeria, is very much here with us. Mr. Dotun Ogunolu is also very much with us. Union Commercial Insurance Brokers, MD CEO. Thank you, sir, for your presence. Without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, we just take a little breather here and let's catch a little fun coming from our very, very lovely saxman who is here. If you want to deprive it, please can you trill us for 5 minutes? Fem sax, fem sax. Thank you very much. That was a lovely one. Please, a round of applause for them. I have from Here's Insurance Brokers, Anema Ekong, a business development head. Anema Ekong, you're welcome, madam. Yeah. And please, before we go into the next strand of our program, which is presentations, we have 10 slots for participants who are on the loop virtually. Please, in case you have an issue that you want to interrogate or you have comments that you want to make, please just look at the chat icon and chat with us, okay? We're allowing 10 delegates. So when the line is ruled after 10, we cannot guarantee that you'll be able to ask your question. And when trying to ask your question online, please ensure your network is fine and perfect. And also ensure that there is a very clement environment around you where you are. Thank you. 10 people are going to interact with us online. And of course, since we are here physically, we'll be able to apply the physical rule here, okay? So thank you very much. Right away, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go into what I call the intellectual session now, because CHI is a learning institution and it has continued to grow leaps and bounds in that dimension. May I request that we take the first lecture, which is going to have time limit of 5 minutes, however it is, Claim Spotter mobile app. Can we take that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Nama Nwama, the Chief Technology Officer, is here with me. Technology people don't talk too much. They just get you online anyhow. Okay? So please, a round of applause for him.
Thank you very much, MC. Good evening, all. Valued partners. I stand on all existing protocols that my GMD has laid down. I recall sometime in April, I think that was the last time we had some sort of one-on-one touch, where we had like a webinar for some of your valued partners on how to leverage, technology in these times. It was very up then because that was the heat of the whole COVID crisis and pandemic. We've built on that. What we're here to do today is just to show you some of the technology solutions that have been deployed and which you can use to actually interact with us in a more efficient manner. You would agree with me, technology is a critical driver for business, and it is now so much emphasized now because we've seen what can happen when you can no longer have physical access to your businesses. And so you must use technology now. If you did not want to use technology before, I think the crisis has shown that technology is the way to go. So we're just going to show you some of what we've done in CHI and some of the technology we've deployed, and that will be of much value to you and as well to our customers in extension. Okay. Okay, so we have 3 applications we'll be looking at briefly. This is just a run through to just show you what we are doing. The first one is a broker portal application that speaks strictly to how we see our brokers interacting with us in the next couple of weeks. Our online claims tracking and our mobile customer app. Okay, so the broker portal. Why did we go the broker portal? We saw that most of our interactions are what we call manual driven. And they are kind of laborious and stressful, having to send documents back and forth, emails, keeping track of your conversations, it's quite laborious. So here in CHI, we decided to automate that process, and that's what brought into light this application. So we looked at the gamut of what are those features, what are those critical things that these brokers do with us, and let us see how we can digitize that. And so these are the key features we have. So from your policy administration to your placement forms, renewal, premium payments, downloading of insurance document, policy document as PDF, soft copy, insights dashboard, claims notification, support. We have that available on the web, Android, and iOS as mobile apps. So you're covered. So this is just a snapshot of what the application looks like. You log in, and again, if I must add, it's actually what we call a multi-tenant application. So what that means is that you can actually create your staff to use this app. So not only will you will not just have one account. So you have an account, and you can have your staff also access them, and all that you do is track and monitor. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Set up your broker staff accounts, and this is where it becomes interesting. You can see all the features. So you can create your placement forms right from within the app. You can view notifications. You can view claims. You can view all the policies that are linked to that particular broker as existing CHI in our business. You can see the total number of policies. You can also see the claims. You can also see your license. So you can see your license status. Is it still active as it exists on our record? You can see that there, live. You can see your profile information. This is just a snapshot of some of the things that, can happen. And again, when you can also buy, so you can buy as, corporate, as individual. You can have those customers access it in our books. You can also create, new customers as well. We have a snapshot of the placement form. The whole idea behind this app is to prevent, that manual intervention. So you don't need to have any physical documents. All can be done from within the app. You can view your placement forms that have been submitted. You can see details of the policies, the risks which have been purchased. You can see them all there. Then you can have an inside dashboard. Very interesting. So you want to know how profitable is that business. You can see it all there. That dashboard is available for you, all real time online. And you also can create, tickets. So if you need support, which we believe happens with all technology, you can also do that from this portal. This portal currently is in the beta testing phase. It will be available in very few weeks to open to the market. Right now, it's going through beta testing with some of our partners, and once that is live, the account manager will reach out to you to onboard you, and you'll be able to use this. The online claims tracking, which we call e-claims, also very important for us, because we've seen cases where you have to send hard copy, and it's difficult keeping track of some of those information. That can now be done online, real time with our e-claims app. So what are those features? Notification of claims, the verification. Now, when we say policy verification, it's important because for you to actually notify us of a claim, that policy has to be valid. So you can actually use this same app to check the validity of that particular policy right from that app. You can also verify the claim, and you can also track the claims process. So to get there, from our website, you see those options there. You can either make a claim or track a claim, whichever you select, and it takes you to this page. You insert the vehicle registration number if it's an auto claim, or the policy number for any other claim you may have. You get a one-time password, which is a security feature. So we don't want a case where anybody can just get details and just put that online. So this is a security feature, such that you get only the maintained phone number or email of that particular client, or the ask gets that password, and you can continue that process. So this page shows you a summary of the policy. So you see the key information. You see the premium, the sum insured, start, end, shows you how long the policy has elapsed. You see the information as created. So you can use this to validate the data that's in our database, see if it's for correction. And then you can select the type of claim. Now, all this is happening online, so you don't need to submit any physical paper. You can do all that from this portal. And you can fill your form. This form has been built from the existing hard copy form. So all the information you're used to seeing, they're all there. And it also gives you room to attach PDFs. There are some documents you might want to upload, so you can attach all that on this particular portal. Then to track, so many of us would have been getting mails from CHI. When you lodge your claims, you get an email telling you with a claim number, this is your online tracking ID. Some of us would have been seeing that happening the last couple of months. So you use that, you go here, although that email also has the link to this site. So once you put that claim number or the claim tracking number here, it tells you the status of that claim. So you can see if it's registered, if it is paid, if there are also additional documents you need to provide. That email would have put that there. You need to provide ABCD documents, and then you go here, you can add the documents here, add more information and submit. While you do this, our backend systems are getting all this information and we're able to process it in a very efficient manner. So these are the additional documents. You can add as much as you like and submit. Yeah. I'm trying to impress for time, so I'm trying to move very quickly. So we also have, which is my G. So this is an app that enables direct interaction of our customers with us, either existing or potential. So you can actually, if you're an existing customer, you can administer your policy. You can see the policies you have with us. You can see the ones that are expiring. You can renew. You can notify us of your claims. You can download your insurance certificate from that app. You can also do what we call a rates premium computation. So you want to know, how much to cost you for a certain type of business. You can do that here as well, and it's available on Android. So a quick run through. So on the Android Play Store, it's called My CHI. So if you search for My CHI, you will see the application there and you can download it. So you log in. So on the existing page, the landing page, you can reset the password. If you're an existing customer with us, you can onboard yourself, from this link. You can ask for help, and of course your username and password claims. That exists on our records. If you have any expired policies, you will see that as well. If you have those that are about to expire, it shows you, that as well. On the menu, these are some of the things you can do with that mobile app. You can see your profile. If you want to go to renewals, you just navigate to renewals. You see that there. If you want to buy, you buy, claim. So the menu actually speaks to those features that customers really want to do, quickly. You can see all that, there. Once you sign into the app, you will have a page that shows you your information. You can also see your details. So this is how it renders. You can see those key parameters there, policy, premium. You can see that there. Of course, claims. You can lodge your claims through the mobile app as well. So you can follow the same steps of the web. You can follow that with the mobile app. You can also buy using your debit card as well. That so these are also some of the things you can do with the app. The claims, showing you the details. This also speaks to claims, and of course product information, very very key. So you want to understand those lines of businesses, those risks, what they are about. You can actually see that information here. You can see some quick information. So a customer wants to know, okay, what is combined. You can go here and you can read up about it. And this is the rate calculator I mentioned. Also details about our office. And you can see there's a map there. So once you select in the office, it shows you on the map where that office location is. So you know how to get in touch with us. And some key things about us, our vision, our mission, and all that also on the app. Inquiries, how to reach us, is also on that app. And I think that's my last slide. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions, then you can note it down for time and we'll take it. No, Android. Thank you very much.
Please, can you encourage Nana, please? Fantastic. Thank you very much. He's been able to show us that when companies give value, profitability follows. Thank you, CHI PLC. The next nugget that we are going to take is on Hallmark HMO. And we're going to take this from Mr. Olusegun Totoyi, the head marketing. Mr. Totoyi, I trust you will keep to 5 minutes. I trust you. I trust you. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, valued brokers. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We all believe that health is wealth. So access to good health care is important. And this is what we provide at Hallmark HMO. Now, Hallmark HMO provides access to quality healthcare services, ensuring that you spend as little as possible on your healthcare. As little as possible on your healthcare. We are a national HMO. We have presence all over the nation. We work in conjunction with hospitals all over the nation. So wherever you are in Nigeria, where your clients are in Nigeria, you have access to one or two providers you can use to have access to quality healthcare services. Now, our plans are robust. We ensure that you have access to all the benefits, all the services you require in a hospital are all available under our plans. Our plans cover general consultation, specialist consultation. You have access to surgical procedures, accident and emergency care nationwide. You have access to dental and optical care. Then other services that you might require at a hospital are all covered by our very robust health plans. I would not like to take much of our time, but I would like to reach out to you. We'll send our proposals to you. You can reach out to us for your quotes, for your clients. I would like you to be rest assured that when you are covered by Hallmark HMO, your clients, your families, you have access to comprehensive and quality health insurance services. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for keeping to time. We appreciate you. A very, very good product requires very little rhetorics. Thank you very much, CHI HMO. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sami Agari, you are welcome, sir. I saw you a couple of minutes ago. He's one of the top-notch brokers here. Please, a round of applause for him. Now I'd like to invite to make a nugget presentation from CHI Micro Insurance, Pius Kariene. I hope I'm right. Yes, thank you very much. I'll pay fine. Yeah, incidentally, I'm your in-law, so you are going to pay me more, because I've been too good to your sister.
Good afternoon, esteemed partners. I stand on existing protocol. CHI Micro Insurance Limited is a micro life company owned 100% by our parent company, and we are focused on serving low-income earners in the society. We have products for all of them, and that's why we have our pay line. Money speaks only one language. If you save me today, I will save you tomorrow. NICOM says maximum sum assured is 2 million, and NICOM says we should pay all claims within 48 hours after the DV is signed, or we promise to pay 35 hours after the DV is executed. There are two things that stand us out at CHI Micro Limited: innovation and customer experience. So once you have us, you have covered. We have what we do in CHI Micro. We are digitally we work digitally, and we'll give you prompt service delivery. So on behalf of the board, management and staff, I say Eshe, Dalu, Nagode, Uwese, Wekobere for listening.
Thank you very much. A man that is coming to talk about health must himself be an embodiment of good health. I can see how well studied my friend is. Yes, thank you. Please, can we appreciate him once more? Now, I think we can go to the crux of the matter, the kernel of the issue tonight, or this evening. We are going to be talking about the importance of business continuity management in the era of disruption. And it is my honor and privilege to say that business continuity management is an advanced planning and preparation of an organization to maintaining business functions or quickly resuming after a disaster had occurred. And of course, great companies that will stay afloat are known by their penchant for strategies that will keep them afloat after disaster of unprecedented dimensions that we have had between 2019 and 2020. So we just want to have a feel, ladies and gentlemen, of what has made CHI not only to be on ground, but stoically on ground, while so many others are beaming with envy. May I respectfully recognize and present to you our paper presenter, Mr. Tokunbo Taiwo. Mr. Tokunbo Taiwo is an information technology, governance, risk, security, and compliance professional whose career is focused on assessing organizations to realize their strategic business objectives through an effective, secure, and innovative use of IT. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Computer Science, an MBA degree, as well as a certificate in Governance of Enterprise, Certified Information Systems Auditor, ladies and gentlemen, Certified Information Security Manager, Certified in Risk and Information Systems Control, as well as several other certifications in information technology. Ladies and gentlemen, is a highly sought after professional and one of the proudest products of the IT world. We are most privileged, and it takes the caliber of CHI to bring this eminent and highly studied IT specialist to come and talk to us. Ordinary companies should not and would not be able to monetize the value of his presence. For CHI, we have brought him here alive. Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite Mr. Taiwo to please talk to us.
Good day, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I have to say good day because these days we are living in the new normal. The new normal. And in the new normal, we have people joining us remotely, so you can't be sure where they're joining from. So it might be wrong for me to say good evening or good afternoon. So I'll say good day. And I want to thank the Group Managing Director, the board and management of CHI for this honor to speak to distinguished professionals in this field. I would like to also recognize especially the former president of the NIA, as the GMD addressed him, Olorogun Sonny Adeda, as well as the president of the NTRIB, both of whom are my elders. Having said that, I'll go straight to the presentation. And the topic we are considering is the importance of business continuity management in the era of disruption. And a brief outline of what we'll be discussing today. We'll start by setting the context. What is the context in which we are discussing this? We'll also attempt to bust some of the common business continuity myths that are out there. And then we'll look at what, why, how business continuity is all about. And then we'll take some questions. But just before we go into the presentation proper, I would like to say a little about Digital Jewels, whom CHI have given the privilege to support them in implementing the business continuity management system. So CHI, who have invited you to this event to listen to this, have themselves imbibed the tenets of business continuity management. As a company, Digital Jewels has a number of partners, and I think one of the partners that will be of importance to mention at this time is the Business Continuity Institute. We are also partners with a number of other organizations, including PECB, APMG, and we are licensed by NIDA, which is the Information Technology Development Agency of Nigeria, as DPCOs. So for the regulation on data protection, we are licensed. In addition to that, we are also certified ourselves to ISO 27001, which is the Information Security Management Standard, and the 9001 standard, which is Quality Management Standard. We are also qualified security assessors, and that makes us the first of such professional services firm in Africa to be so certified to these three standards. Digital Jewels has footprints across Africa. We have currently offices in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Kenya, and Rwanda. But in addition to those countries, we operate in some other countries in sub-Saharan Africa. And over the years, we've supported these companies in getting certified to various best practice standards, which cut across a wide spectrum. And these companies operate in various industries and various countries on the continent. You've heard a little bit about myself, so I'll go straight to the presentation proper. At the beginning of this year, in January specifically, the World Economic Forum released a report highlighting some of the biggest risks to the global economy for 2020. And among those risks were infectious diseases, social instability, and national governance failure. The report was such that these risks were classified according to their likelihood and their impact. And you will see from this diagram that even though infectious diseases was identified as a risk, the likelihood was very high, but the impact was very high, but the likelihood was not considered high relative to most of the other risks that were identified. Social instability and national governance failure were also identified, and you can see where they were placed. But looking back now, I'm sure we'll have a number of questions for those who presented or who wrote this report. For those of us in Nigeria, two major events, if I could call them events, have described this year or defined this year for us. The first is the COVID-19, which is a disease, coronavirus disease. This disease is based on a virus which has a name given to it by the World Health Organization. That's a severe acute respiratory syndrome, which in short is SARS-CoV-2. The second significant event for those of us in Nigeria, you seem to know where I'm going. The second significant event is the hashtag #EndSARS. And one of the things that is similar to in these two events are 4 letters, SARS. I don't know if it's just a coincidence. But these two events have defined this year, and without a doubt, we could come to the conclusion that the year 2020 is the year of the business continuity manager. Do you agree with that? Okay. Now, let's take a quick look at what has happened this year. The coronavirus actually started last year, late last year, and I was supposed to attend an event somewhere in Singapore, and I was looking forward to it. But as I think that was supposed to be in March or so. But as the days went by, I kept, listening to the news because I was hearing about what was going on in Asia. Of course, the virus started in China. So I was paying attention to it. I found myself, after a while, actually looking at the figures in Singapore. I wanted to know if it would continue to rise or not. And of course, it eventually did, and that trip never happened. And we kept thinking, it's still far away. And some of us would know about SARS, the severe acute respiratory syndrome. It's not a new virus. It's not a new thing. It's been around, especially in Asia. So eventually, the COVID came into Nigeria, and officially we got information about it, that it got into the country February 27 through a foreigner. And from then on, people took different approaches to it. But eventually, by the end of March, government realized that some action needed to be taken. And so, by March 30, it was announced that there will be a lockdown. And I think it was at that point that people began to really think about what the implications would be. Within the first few weeks, people thought it would just be for a short while. But as the days went by, it became obvious that things were not going to be the same. A number of things started happening. For those of us in the business world, we needed to get our businesses going. We couldn't afford to, not do anything. And so people came up with creative ideas on how to keep their business going. People had to start working from home. A number of us who didn't know anything about Zoom suddenly found ourselves using Zoom. A lot of the applications that we have on our laptops and our phones, we started using them. Now, before this time, some regulators, as the GMD had mentioned, had the foresight to ensure that those operating within their industries were set on the right path. And so in some of the industries, like yours as well as banking, they had requirements for business continuity or risk management. And so we found that companies that were operating within those spaces were able to continue their business more easily than others who are not prepared. Because of the lockdown, people had to work from home, which also exposed not only them, but even their companies to even greater risk than they had before. Cybersecurity became an issue. We saw a spike in the number of incidents of cybersecurity attacks, especially with Zoom and a number of all those other platforms, increasing the risks that had always been there before that time. By the end of April, there was a lot of tension in the country. People were getting restless, having to stay at home for so long. And on April 29, there was an incident that happened in Lagos at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, which most of us probably didn't take note of. There was a demonstration by some of the workers within that complex because they felt that they needed to work and they were not working. At the end of the day, about 51 of those workers were arrested. And I'm sure that around that period, they must have disrupted business within that complex. Those who operate businesses within the complex would have felt the impact of what happened then. Maybe if we had paid attention to it, we would have been more prepared for what happened recently. Of course, we know that a lot of things happened within that period. By the end of April, government announced that they would ease the lockdown. And then on May 4, the lockdown was eased. And then we had social distancing, which now meant that people would congregate in numbers, in proportion to the numbers that they would ordinarily have congregated. That same month in May, the World Economic Forum conducted a survey of business leaders around the world. And the results that they got were quite interesting. For concern for the world as a whole, there was a lot of concern around a prolonged recession. But a number of the other concerns are also interesting. The second one there, which was the second highest, was high levels of structural unemployment, especially among young people, and a number of other things. But for those business leaders, the concerns they had for their company included prolonged recession, cyber attacks, and a number of other things. But one thing that is common for both the global and for their company was the concern about another outbreak. As a result of the lockdown, the growth rate for Nigeria's GDP plummeted, as you can see, from around 2% to -6% by the end of the second quarter. It was no surprise then that something that we seemingly had become used to, police brutality, took on a new dimension because there was a lot of frustration in the country, and especially amongst the youth, who became very restless. And so by October 8th, the NSAS protest started, and initially what we saw were just people blocking traffic, not allowing people to reach where they want to reach on time, and so on and so forth. But this progressed, dramatically to the point where we started having cyber attacks on institutions. This started with attacks on security forces, the website of security forces, and then moved on from there to other government agencies, and eventually to the private sector. Reportedly, a number of the banks suffered cyber attacks within that period. These cyber attacks were reportedly by hacktivists, people who were doing this for ideological reasons to support the NSAS protest. And while all of that was going on, we also had the incidents of fake news, people saying this person said that, this person did this, and we found as time went on that some of these things were not true. Eventually, things got to a head when hoodlums hijacked the protest, and then we saw a lot of mayhem in the country, which now brought us round again back to the lockdowns. Eventually, according to the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the country as a whole lost around 700 billion naira in just 12 days of those protests. Now, why I've highlighted this is just to remind us of some of the things that have happened this year. Like I said, we could say that this year is the year of the business continuity manager. You will see that in all of this, there has been quite a significant number or impact of business disruption. Most companies at the beginning of the year had outlined what their plans were, but all those plans have been thrown, overboard. It's interesting that today we are faced with the risk of a second wave of the pandemic. Just, I think yesterday or this morning, it was announced that the lockdown will be introduced again in the UK and a number of other countries. So the question to ask ourselves is, are we going to go through that cycle again? Remember how that cycle started from the pandemic and round to where we are. Now, before the pandemic, businesses in Nigeria had always faced some risks, and those risks are still there. They've not disappeared. What has happened is that the pandemic has amplified them. And some of the risks, we know them. We've had the risk of kidnappings, which in recent times has become very significant. In fact, a former U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, in one of his blog posts earlier this year, in June this year, described it as a growing industry, a growth industry. Kidnapping, he described it as a growth industry. Cyber crime has also been an issue. It's been there, but within this period, we've seen a sporadic rise. For those of us in the cyber security space, we noticed that when COVID started, the criminals jumped on it, and they actually hit a lot of people. Robbery attacks, the recession, regulatory sanctions, and a number of all of these other risks have always been there. For disease outbreak, we had the Ebola virus in 2014 or so, and some measures were taken. It had some impact, but the impact was not as much as what we have now. So some of the things that have been happening are not new. Now, these are the risks that are out there. The question we should then ask ourselves is that if we are not prepared, what risk does that present or pose to us? They can be categorized into three broad areas. The first is reputation. Your clients recognize that those risks are there and that they may disrupt your business. But what may be unacceptable to them is your inability to be able to respond appropriately to those risks and to get back to business if those risks crystallize, if they materialize. They expect that you'll be able to quickly and efficiently respond to them and get back to business. So if you are unable to do that, your reputation is at stake. And I'll give you a very simple example with the recent protests. A number of those security agencies had their websites attacked. And when one or two of them could not restore, they couldn't go back to normal operations, it actually heightened interest in them. And people started making all sorts of conclusions about what had happened. So your reputation is at stake if you are not well prepared for a disaster. And once you lose the trust of your clients or your other partners, it becomes a big challenge. The second is financial loss. Whenever there is a disaster, you suffer financial loss, either directly from that loss. So if, for instance, it's a fire or some other disaster like that, the fact that you are unable to continue business means that you are losing revenue. And then in some cases of these disasters, it will cost you extra to be able to get your operations back to normal. So definitely there are financial losses. And in addition to that, in some cases, you could even be liable as a result of that disaster. So these are some of the risks that we face. And the third one is that if we are unable to quickly get back to business, we may actually lose the business. So it's important for us to understand that we need to be adequately prepared for disasters, which, as we have said, can happen at any time. So, in view of all of this, how do we protect ourselves? We need to be like Noah. Before it started raining, he built an ark. And that's what business continuity is all about. It's about the capability of an organization to continue delivery of products or services at an acceptable, predefined level following a disruptive incident. And I want to emphasize a few things there. It's the capability of the organization. You build that capability before, and then to continue to deliver your products or services, and then at an acceptable, predefined level. So even before the disaster, you've determined at what level you want to continue to deliver your products and services. This is very important. Now let's look at a few myths around business continuity. Some of the things you hear people say when you talk about business continuity. One of them, and probably the number one, especially in our own environment, where people will say, God forbid, I reject it, is that we are not at risk of a major disaster. Yes, we know those risks are there, but it's unlikely to happen to us for one reason or the other. People will give you all sorts of reasons. But I think this year has shown clearly that everybody is prone. Everybody is likely, everybody is open or susceptible to these risks. You may think something is far and remote, but if care is not taken, it could affect you. When the the COVID started, it started in China. Nobody thought it would get to us. Nobody knew that the impact it will have is what it is having to do. Like I mentioned earlier, SARS, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, has been in China for years, in Asia for years. They are used to it. And I'm sure most people around the world, even the enlightened people, thought it would just be like that. There's another one, MERS, the Middle East version of it. So everybody thought, it will just stay there and it won't affect us. And even when the pandemic got to Africa and the numbers were not rising, the thinking of people was that, we Africans are somehow immune to it, and so we won't die. We have not died, but think of the other impact that it has had on us and our business continuity. The second myth is that if a disaster strikes, our people know what to do. It's an assumption. Even if they are the best trained or they are the most knowledgeable employees or partners or stakeholders that you have, if they have not sat down together to determine what they would do when there is a disaster, they could create even a bigger disaster. Too many cooks spoil the broth. So if they haven't agreed on a well-documented plan in advance with proper training, then there could be a problem. That's the second myth. The third one, and I know that I'm in the midst of people who deal with risk a lot and talk about insurance cover and all of that. The third myth is that we have insurance. So if no matter what happens, we are covered. But that's not a very good way to look at it. Insurance alone is not a business continuity strategy. It should be just one of the strategies. And look at the reason. Insurance may help you to recover certain things, but it will not help you to recover the loss of customers or market share for the period you are unable to continue your business. And a very good example I usually give about something close to that is an ATM. On my way here this morning, I wanted to cash money at an ATM, but I discovered when I got there, I had just assumed, because it was on the way to my office, that I would get cash from it. But when I got there, it had been smashed by the hoodlums during the strike. And if there was another ATM, I would have used it. So, for it not to be available meant loss of revenue to that company. The fourth myth is that business continuity is complex. If you look at all the risks and all the things that have happened this year, and you are talking about planning for it, it may look very complex, but that's not very correct. If you take a methodical approach to it, and there is a way you can do that. I'll just keep this other myths. But let me just talk about this one, which is that we don't have time. You also hear that we don't have time to develop a plan. You should think of the time you are going to spend developing the plan as an investment, which if you don't make, you would actually pay more for later. So typically, for business continuity, what you are looking at is your ability to be able to recover from an incident. So everything's been operating normally, and then an incident happens. You want to recover within the shortest possible time to your normal operating cycle. So there are a number of things that you need to pay attention to. What's your response to the incident? How do you ensure that you continue business? It may not be at the same level, but you're able to continue until you recover fully. The ISO 22301, which is the Business Continuity Management Standard, provides a methodical way by which you can identify the threats to your organization, identify the impacts on the organization if those threats were to materialize, and it provides a framework for building organizational resilience and an effective response to the risks that face your business. So what's the process like? You start with prevention, and that is built around having a risk management plan. And then you go on to do what we call a business impact analysis. And then you look at what response would you give if those disasters should strike. And if they do strike, how do you ensure that you are able to recover? So that's, in a nutshell, is the process. And in doing that, what you need to do is to first of all identify what are your critical processes, the processes that are very critical to you. Who are the people that are critical to you? What information systems, what parts of your value chain or supply chain are very critical? You need to identify all of this and the risks that are associated with them. You should also state what your business continuity objectives are. So you should be looking at what is your maximum tolerable period of disruption. What's the maximum length of time that a disruption would begin to impact your business? You need to understand what that is. And then you, based on that, set for yourself what the maximum length of time within which you need to recover if there is a disruption. That time has to be shorter than the tolerable period of disruption. For your areas of business that have to do with information, you should also define what we call the recovery point objective. So if, for instance, you suffer a breakdown of your systems, you are unable to process, how far back do you have to go in terms of your restoring your data to be able to go back to normal? That's what the RPO is. Then you should also look at what is the minimum level of service or product that is acceptable to the organization. You need to also define this. Then you should constitute teams that would help you to ensure business continuity, and at various levels, the strategic level, the tactical level, and the operational level. In addition to that, you should also have emergency response teams to be able to tackle the fallout of these disasters. And very important are your fire marshals, for instance, or first aiders. You should also have a damage assessment team as well as a communications team. A communications team is very, very important. It's something that we might easily lose sight of. Whenever there is a disaster, especially today, where we live in a fast-paced digital world, where people carry a lot of fake news, how do you communicate? How do you ensure that when the name of your company appears in the news or on WhatsApp as doing something that you haven't done, how do you address it? So you should have a plan for that. You should have a team that should manage that. And talking about plans, there are a number of plans that you should have. You should have a business continuity plan. You should have a crisis management plan, which would detail what will happen if there is a crisis. You should also have an emergency response plan for various types of emergencies, as well as an IT disaster recovery plan. These plans, even though they are separate, you find that you might have to combine some of them depending on the kind of event that you are faced with. It's not enough for you to just develop the plans and have them on the shelf. You should ensure that those plans are tested regularly, at least once a year. You should simulate the disaster and see what happens, see how your people respond. Will they be able to meet those objectives that you have set? For actors, they have scripts which they rehearse, they practice before they actually go and, they go on stage. In the same way too, look at your plans in that same light. I would like to end here with these two quotations. The first one says that the only thing that is harder than planning for an emergency is explaining why you didn't plan for it. The second one says, he who fails to plan, plans to fail. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo. We appreciate your presentation. Within the time limit, you've given us a business school curriculum on business continuity. Thank you very much, sir. Well, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we start to open the line for our members to interact with us, I have Mr. Aaron Adonije, CEO SSG Insurance Brokers with us. Appreciate you. Round of applause for him. Anselm Igbo, CEO Stanbic IBTC is here. Please, can we appreciate him? Online. Yeah, online. Thank you. Benjamin Ikomi, CEO Metro Risk Online. We appreciate you. Kayode Awuboro, CEO Arc Insurance Brokers Limited Online. Thank you, Kayode. We appreciate you. Mr. Shola Tinubu has hooked up from the UK and he sent his greetings. He's online. Mr. Shola Tinubu, thank you. Augustine Ayi is representing Dr. Ahmed Salawuddin. He has also sent his greetings. Tayo Balogun, Post Assurance Brokers. We appreciate your presence. I think here. Peter Ezekoko, M&M Insurance Brokers. We appreciate you. Thank you. Leko Ajishafe, Post Assurance Brokers. We appreciate you. Dayo Ojo of Fountain Insurance Brokers Limited. Mr. Ojo, thank you, sir, for your presence. Well, I think now we can... okay. Is it possible for us now to see how many people have there? Do we have them yet? Okay. Well, I have taken away the fact that communication team must be very effective in period of communication, in period of crisis. And that is the feeling that I think we all had, the government had, during this COVID-19 or NSAS project. It was a project indeed. And a lot of comedy actually went into that. For time, we would have appetized ourselves a little bit with that, but I know you know that it was so bad that some people had to steal the signboard of their town just because they want to loot. Okay? So please, can we go to the floor? We'd like to take your interactions with us now, not limited to the paper that had just been presented. There had been nuggets presentations. There had been a prefatory remarks which was made by the group managing director, Mr. Eddie Efekoa, at the start of this program. So peradventure you have issues that you like to talk into briefly, or you want to make an endorsement, or there is something that is agitating your mind that you need to say here. Please, the floor is open for you. The floor is open for you. We'd like to meet you by virtue of your name, the company you represent again, and then you make your very crisp submission. So please, the microphone is up for take. Okay, I can see. The Bible says that the knowledge of a man maketh his face to shine. When you see somebody smiling at the moderator, he has something to say. Okay, so Mr. Daudu.
Thank you very much. Okay, my name is Alfred Daudu, MD of FSL Insurance Brokers. Well, I think a lot has been said to appreciate CHI for this move, even at this time. So I join everyone that has given such very good remarks about CHI. But let me move very quickly to my comments. Recently, fallout of this end SARS and the destructions that followed. Just last week, somebody reached out to me. I did one of the SSA to the state governor and said that their state is considering compensating some of the people that were affected, whose property were destroyed, businesses were destroyed in the course of this NSAS protests. Now, he said, well, he's giving me some detailed brief. They actually wanted us to, part of the issues of concern to them is what the public, what their state, how people will look at it. Oh, did you just call some people together, distribute money to them? How did you go about it and all of that? And so I told them, well, we have the insurance industry has professionals that can attend to all of these issues like this, and they will do it in a very professional way, such that at the end of the day, anybody reviewing what your state government has done will commend you for doing this. And so I was able to recommend an adjuster who had done a previous job for us. I remember one of my customers had an issue some time ago. One of their market branches, a bank actually, fire started from there and burned some other shops around there. And then, of course, because it's a bank, a lot of those people that were affected were claiming outrageous, sums in damage. And of course, we got the adjuster involved. We were able to do it. At the end of the day, it was realistically adjusted, and the people were pleased. So I suggested to them that you could do this, and of course, we are already going through that process. So I want to find out whether this is the same thing, because I know that usually, as part of a standard cover that we give, we don't riot, strike, and civil commotion does not come as part of the standard cover that we give, whether it's for motor or motor majorly. But of course, as has been said by the GMD today, where recently we have started giving some of these covers for free. I remember those days we used to say, look, if you want this for this, you pay.
Sorry, sir, can you?
But sorry. Now we're saying,
yes,
all right, so I'm so sorry. I'm just giving this background. Okay, so what I think, I don't know whether we're having, because we need to be prepared. Are these governments going to tell us all of these losses you are going to pay? Primarily, we used to know that it is the responsibility of government to prevent riots, and these riots from becoming violent, and then, of course, seeing this kind of damage. So is the industry doing anything at all by taking the first move and telling government that, look, this is what you ought to do. This is your primary responsibility. It is government responsibility to have managed, to stop riots from becoming violent, and for this kind of damages to come out from it. So I think the industry need to begin to tell government that, look, what have you done? Let's begin to push the ball back to them, so that by the time they are claiming, because I also saw on the internet that Lagos State government has come with something very huge. They say they are gathering all the record, it's insured and all of that. So I think the industry should begin to tell them now that you didn't, this is really part your own bit, that they ought to have prevented this thing, and that riot and strike is damage is the business of government to pay.
Thank you.
So I think we need to begin to do that very quickly.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the microphone is still roving, and can we pin down the issues to Consolidated Hallmark? I know it's an industry issue, but please, we are here to wine and dine on the altar of Consolidated Hallmark. So please, can we? Okay, sir. Your name and the company you work for. Then your point.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sahid Ebemi, Hog Robinson Nigeria Limited. Well, my worry is this, and this is actually directed to Mr. Taiwo. There's this general saying that Ojo to nro ti o da, Ọlọ́run ló mọ̀ ní ẹyẹ ni tí ó pa. The rain that is still falling, it has not stopped. Only God knows the extent of the damage is going to cause. Talking about the COVID, yes, we are all breaking the protocols of what we need to do here and there. And we just heard that in the UK, they are going back to the second phase of lockdown, and that is happening across. So to what extent do you then have to continue to thinking about this issue of business continuity when you don't even know the extent of the damage it's going to cause? I'll pin this down to what has happened in Nigeria. We have to take note of the fact that the impact of this COVID, we have not seen it this year at all. Because if you observe, about 60% of the premium paid, most of our clients in Nigeria renew their insurances in January. Meaning that quite a number of them have actually paid the premium. So whatever premium you earn this year, don't expect the same thing next year. Because as we are going, a lot of our clients are affected by this. So what do we do when you don't even know when this thing is going to stop? Then going to the issue of the NSAS project that we talk about, I think what has happened today is that thing has just gone to the cooler for a while because the problems have not been resolved by the government. So how long do you continue to do this planning? We have just mentioned the issue of riot, strike, and civil commotion now. Then what is going to be the reaction of insurance to this going forward? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Can I crave your indulgence for us to take out the issues and then you respond to them wholesale? Do we have more comments, more compliments, more issues we like to raise with CHI? Okay. Do we take it that our silence means a collective consent that all is well? Can I hear your yay or nay? Yay. Those who are saying yay should say it very well. Do it like the National Assembly yay. Yay, okay. Well, thank you very much. Can you please respond to that, sir? Please let the microphone, or you would like to come here? Okay. You can be anywhere.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's a very pertinent question. And I think it's a question that should be running through all of our minds because nobody knows for sure where or when this will end and even how it will end. A lot of the things that have happened this year, we've seen signs. We've had instances of those things happening, but not at the scale they've happened this year. Like I mentioned before, the Ebola crisis happened about 6 years ago, and the lessons that Lagos State, for instance, learned from that outbreak helped to mitigate the disaster this time, which is one of the lessons we should learn. If you notice when I showed that process for business continuity, you'll notice that it's a cycle. So it's not a journey, it's not a straight line, it's a cycle. So you have to keep going around. And that's why the last step there talked about testing. The essence of the testing is to determine if you are okay, and also if things have changed. You can have a plan, and then things have changed. You can then easily adjust. But there's a saying that maybe you'll be able to help me, since you also started with the Yoruba proverb, that the person who keeps looking at the eye of the crab
something ẹni tó wojú akọ. The person who stays at the river bank. So he has to do whatever he has to do. So the point I'm making is that just start. One of the points on the slide was that you are not going to have a perfect plan initially, but start with something and then continue to build it. So it's something that you just have to do. And the last quote there, the person who doesn't plan at all, you fail. That's number one. Then you find it difficult to explain why, especially now that it's so apparent. All of us know now that these risks, if we are going to spend time talking about those risks one by one, we'll spend the whole day here. And I can give you a lot of examples, real life examples, in terms of their likelihood, their impact. So the point is, we should just start. We should just start. Like you said, we don't know the impact yet. And I'm happy you mentioned about January. January, a lot of things will happen, which it's then we'll start knowing what has happened. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the response. Do we have any other thing? Any other comments by way of partners' feedback? Are you okay with everything about CHI? You are okay with the recapitalization strides? Are you okay? Please respond to me so that I can be comfortable. Are you okay with the recapitalization strides? Aha. Are you okay with all the products that have been re-advertised to you? Your yes is still very nimble. I can hear the yes of Mrs. Ekoma Izibe. Very lovely yes. Please, can I have other good yes? Okay, you are okay, Abby? Okay. Please, a round of applause for yourselves. Thank you very much. Thank you, our paper presenter, Mr. Taiwo. We appreciate you very well. And at another time, some of us will be itching to have your paper, because I learned that online some people are hankering to have your paper. Is a very good one. So please, do I assure them that the paper will be made available? Okay, please virtually be rest assured that the paper will be made available. Thank you very much. God bless you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've just got two more items. One item is an expression of thanks, which is going to be done by Mr. Tunde Daramola. And then the next item will be the dinner. So we'll take the dinner, interact, network, and then we'll call it a day. Mr. Tokwe Daramola, please could you... I'm calling myself again. Well, he's my brother. Can't you see that we look very much alike? Do you agree we look very much alike? Please encourage me by saying I look like him.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Tokwe. Incidentally, he knows my wife is Temi Tokwe, but he is Adaramola. So thank you very much on behalf of the board management and staff of CHI. Sometimes when we see the kind of response we get from the market, your participation at our events like this is a lot of encouragement. We ask ourselves, how do we deserve this level of trust and friendship? We don't take it for granted, I can assure you. Tokumbo, thanks very much. Well researched paper. We do appreciate that great effort. And of course, for the NCRB chairman, President, Dr. Bola Onigbogi, we sincerely appreciate you for participating and staying true. And for those who have made out time to be here with us physically at this event, all we owe you is to continue to create value. to reduce your anxiety. So of course, issues of business continuity, we saw it real time as a company. And so as Togo was speaking, I think it was resonating very clearly with us. I will not rest on our oars. I was so convinced that we won't get out of here today without hearing a bit of proverb. So thanks for that, sir. But the point is that we do not pray that the rain will continue, but we can't say rain should not happen. All we can do is to be ready when it does. In fact, by this time tomorrow, we don't even know what the American election is happening tomorrow, and that in itself globally is another issue that we don't know. I mean, I just got to hear that even White House is beginning to build fences around itself, expecting that things could blow up. So I think it's important to plan, and the biggest security we have is God, and I believe that God will continue to help us. Once again, Tope, well done, great job, thank you so much. This is not going to be the end. We just pray that when we come calling again, you will gladly oblige us. Once again, God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Information, please. The ushers, where are they? The ushers. Please, you will usher our guests table per table, okay? And we'd like to take some photographs here. The group managing director would take photographs with us batch by batch, if I can put it that way. This podium has to move so that we can take advantage of the background. But whilst that is being done, please, we started with prayer. We also would have to end it with prayer. May I humbly request that we just bow down our heads and share the grace in fellowship. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit continue to be with us now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
What takes your anxiety away?
Access to medical care without financial constraint.
GMD, sir. GMD, sir.
Have a cover for my car and I.
Keeping my family protected.
NCRIB,
despite my low income.
the ES,
knowing that my goods are secured while in transit.
Mr.
Not having to worry about the pain and the bills at the same time.
Having my investment secured.
No matter what safety means to you, we provide you with a covering to keep you and all that matters to you safe. Consolidated Hallmark Insurance Plc. Anxiety away. Value assured.